Okay, let's talk about nucleic acids really quick, and then that way we can all be done. I think everybody is down to this little section here. So organic compounds, talking about nucleic acids, that's your DNA and RNA. Of course, you guys know that these make up your genes. They also determine the type of organism and the growth and development of that organism. And like we talked about yesterday, you know, your DNA dictates protein structure. So remember how the DNA unzips, RNA comes in and attaches to it, and then RNA goes back out of the nucleus and starts building proteins. So we're going to actually have some little manipulatives so we can work all that out on our desk. It's pretty cool. So we'll be able to work all of that out when we get to protein synthesis in here pretty soon. These are typically composed of carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, and phosphorus. So a little bit different combination than what we've talked about already. These are the largest molecules in the body. I think I told fifth grade this already, but you know, your DNA, one strand of DNA is actually about 6 feet long. And you think about how tiny, I mean, you think about a hair that would be 6 feet long. I mean, your DNA is so much smaller even than a hair. But 6 feet long, and it's coiled up into every single cell of your body, has that 6 feet of DNA coiled up into its nucleus. It's really cool to think about. The building blocks of nucleic acids are nucleotides. So I want you to remember the building blocks of all the things we've talked about. Building blocks of proteins are amino acids. The building blocks of nucleic acids are nucleotides. Building blocks of starches or polysaccharides are monosaccharides or glucose. So those are ones you definitely need to keep in mind. I promise you'll see that on the test. So each each consists of a nitrogen-containing base, a pentose sugar, and a phosphate group. And the bases, okay, these nitrogen-containing bases, you have adenine, guanine, cytosine, thymine, and uracil. You probably remember that from DNA. You know, some of them are flipped or switched with DNA and RNA. So you have two types, DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. This is our genetic material, right? And it says its roles includes replicating itself before a cell divides, and then it also provides the instructions are like a blueprint for proteins in the body. The bases are adenine, guanine, thymine, and cytosine. That sounded weird. With that deoxyribose as the sugar, and then they complement specifically adenosine and the thymine complement each other, and then the cytosine and guanine complement each other. And it has that double helix, you know, that structure that you always see like this picture down here in DNA. Now RNA is a little bit different. There's different types of RNA. There's 3 different types. They're located outside the cell nucleus. Now one of them moves in, okay, but it moves back out. And RNA's purpose is just to carry out orders from DNA. So DNA gives kind of the blueprint, RNA copies that, and then it carries it out. The RNA is actually what makes the proteins. DNA just kind of sets up the instructions for it. It's almost like a mold of it, if you will. And then single-stranded, so RNA is, and then the bases, look, the uracil replaces the thymine. Okay, so you'll see that that's the only difference in these two. The sugar is ribose instead of deoxyribose, okay, ribonucleic acid. And then you have 3 varieties. You have messenger, ribosomal, and transfer. And for now, you just need to know that you have 3 varieties. We're going to look more in detail at protein synthesis next week. Okay, and then as far as organic compounds, we also have ATP, which we've already talked about today. So it provides a chemical energy, right, that all of our cells can use. It's made from a mixture of glucose and oxygen that yields ATP. And without it, there's nothing, no processes that our body should do can be formed. Stores energy kind of like little packets from the glucose, like we said when I worked out the chemical equation. And then it consists of an adenine base, ribose sugar, and then it's got 3 phosphate groups. I'm not so worried about you guys knowing the chemical makeup, like those specifically, as much as I'm just worried about you knowing that ATP is energy that's usable by cells and that's created from the oxidation of glucose. So glucose and oxygen mix. They yield carbon dioxide and water, but also yields ATP, which is the energy that our body uses. Okay, and that's it. Now let's talk for a second about. Give me a second here. Okay, let's talk for a second. I want you guys to get out your Who Took Jerrell's Ipod paper. Here, we're going to start this lab on Thursday. I'm probably going to let you guys finish it on Monday unless we can get to it and get with it and actually finish it on Thursday this week. I hope we can. Not sure that we can, especially since we have a short period. All right, but let's read this together. So take out your Who Took Jerrell's Ipod, and we're going to look at this. This is an investigation. Okay, it says Jerrell is a 10th grade student who works at McDonald's on the weekends. While on break, Jerrell was studying for his biology test and listening to his new iPod. There were 4 other workers taking a break at the same time, each having something different for lunch. Jerrell's girlfriend stopped by near the end of his break, and he rushed out to see her and forgot his iPod and biology book in the break room. When he realized, he hurried back and found only his biology book and some spilled food. His iPod was gone. So it says at first, Jerrell freaked out, but he calmed down when he realized he could just use his knowledge of organic compounds to figure out which of his coworkers left the spilled food in his biology book while taking his iPod. So organic compounds we know they have carbon, okay, but this is the food that we eat comes from plants and animals when we look at organic compounds. So molecules, it says molecules are made by living organisms such as plants and animals. It says the table below lists the most common types of organic compounds. These are ones we've already talked about, right? And these are found in living organisms. For each type of organic compound, give 1 or 2 examples and describe one characteristic. So whether it's greasy or it contains genetic material, whether there's lots of it in meat or lots in pretzels or potatoes. So examples, so look at this. This is homework, okay? This is what you guys need to do tonight. Carbohydrates, you need to list out some examples of foods and then some characteristics of that type of organic compound. Okay, so what's a characteristic of carbs? Usually they're sweet tasting, right? There's one example. Okay, lipids, so what are some food examples that have lipids and name a characteristic? Same thing with nucleic acid and then proteins. You're welcome to use your notes. Okay, number 2 says today you'll be testing the substances listed in the following table. Predict whether each substance is an organic compound, and if so, what type. Okay, so go through here. This is homework again, and fill this out. Vegetable oil. Do you think it's a carbohydrate, lipid, protein, or none of those? So what do you think those are? And then is it an organic compound or not? All right, now let's keep going. I'm going to go ahead and read through this so that we'll know what all's coming up. I want you guys to read through this whole thing tonight. I'd like for us to get as far as we can Thursday. So look at the second page. It says, what are indicators? An indicator is a substance that changes color in the presence of a particular type of molecule. You guys have probably used indicators in chemistry or maybe biology before. You just maybe didn't know what to call them, or maybe you do. It says today you'll learn how to use several indicators to test for the presence of carbohydrates and proteins. You'll also use a different type of test for lipids. In your next laboratory period, you'll use these tests to analyze the evidence left at the scene of the crime. If we don't finish Thursday, then I'll let you guys work on it Monday. I'll try to get that prepared for you guys Monday. So basically what you guys are doing is you're going to take the food, okay, that was spilled and figure out what that food is so that you can figure out who stole the iPod, okay? That's what you guys are going to do. This first day, Thursday, all we're doing is looking at the test and how they react. So we're going to look Thursday at how the indicators function. So it talks about how you test for lipids, and then I'll talk about how you test for carbohydrates and proteins. Now, so I'll get out everything. I'll have everything ready for you guys on Thursday. As you figure that out, okay, you're going to write your testing down in this box that's down here. Okay, so you'll write that out. And then you'll do testing for carbohydrates and write out your results in that box on page 2. Same thing for proteins. You'll write that out as well. And basically what you'll put in here is a positive or a negative. And then you'll write out the test strip color, or the iodine test color and if that's a positive, plus sign, or a negative. And what that's going to do is that's going to help us understand how the indicators work, so that whenever we are testing the real food, so you guys are going to actually test pretzel and butter and jelly and yogurt. Whenever you do that, then you'll know what to look for and what type of reaction to expect. Okay? So that's that, and then you'll have some homework probably Monday after the thing. Anyway, so I just wanted to kind of go over that with you guys. Make sure you read it. Make sure you answer all of page 1 for homework tonight. I will check it in class Thursday, and then we can continue on. But go ahead and read part 1 for sure and go from there.